This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It is a hot one out there. Everyone in southern Manitoba is dealing with extremely hot, humid conditions. CBC's Emily Brass is out at Central Park tonight. She joins us there in downtown Winnipeg. Emily, what can people find in that park where you are tonight that might help keep them cool this weekend?
Well, Janet, as you know, one of the best things to do and very important to do when it's extremely hot out is drink a lot of water. So the city has installed this hydration station here at Central Park. It's open 24 hours a day. You just need to bring a cup or a bottle. And it's actually installed more of these hydration stations. There's one at the Broadway Neighbourhood Center on Yonge Street, just south of Broadway, as well as one at the Bell Tower in the North End at Selkirk and Powers. And if you need a place to just go and cool off, you can also go to one of the city's leisure centers or libraries. And the city's reminding everybody that while everyone is susceptible to the dangers of heat exposure, seniors and children are most vulnerable. And one of the best ways for children to cool off is to go to a splash pad. And we've got those across the city in parks, including Central Park here. And CBC's Jim Agapito stopped by last night to talk to some of the families who are splashing around.
Have you been in the water yet today?
I did.
Yeah? What was it like?
It was fun, and and you get soap and wet.
What's your favorite thing to do here at the splash pad?
I go there.
Can you show me? How did it feel?
Nice and refreshing, actually. Super cool, though. It feels extra cold right now on the head and the skin.
How concerned are you that it's this hot right now in Winnipeg?
It's so gross. Like it makes you feel sweaty and it just not comfortable. You know what I mean? So you need to get out here.
Well, a heat warning is expected to last at least a few more days here in Winnipeg, and that means it's going to be extremely hot for this weekend's Pride Festival at the Forks. And Pride Winnipeg President Barry Carlinzig says there will be free water refill stations on the site and open-air tents to cool off in the shade.
One of the biggest things we tell everybody is make sure to wear a hat. We understand, you know what, it's Pride weekend. We understand when people are going out to events and stuff like that, they want their hair to look amazing. They want to look amazing. Take the amazing out of it, find an amazing hat to wear because it's going to be very hot.
Now, the City of Winnipeg and Pride Winnipeg are reminding people about the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke, which can be fatal. Now, those include a throbbing headache, hot, dry, red skin, nausea or vomiting, a strong, fast pulse, or even unconsciousness. Now, if you or anyone you're around starts to experience some of the symptoms, you should immediately call 911. Janet?
Thanks for this, Emily. CBC's Emily Brass reporting live tonight. And of course, we've got big fundraising walks this weekend too. Our Marjorie Dowhos joins us now, our weather specialist. You've got some weather warnings and watches to tell us about.
Yeah, we do have a couple right now. So as Emily mentioned there, heat warning, that is going to remain here across many parts of southern Manitoba throughout the weekend. You can see that here. So we've got this severe, the yellow is the severe thunderstorm watch that we're under right now, most parts. That includes Winnipeg. So Winnipeg right now under 2 weather alerts. This is a look now at the heat warning. That's because daytime highs are going to be in the 30s, overnight lows in the 20s. This extends into northwestern Ontario. Here's a look at the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings. Dark yellow there, that is a warning. So that's parts of the Interlake. We've seen warnings pop on and off throughout the day, but Winnipeg, Brandon remain under a watch at this hour. Here's a look now at the satellite radars. You can see that instability. This is due to a low pressure center pushing up some cooler air from the south, high pressure center up here pushing out to the east. And I'll show you in Futurecast just what we're expecting weather-wise when it comes to the weekend. Janet?
Thank you very much, Marjorie. Charges against a Roman Catholic priest have further eroded an already fraught relationship. Little Grand Rapids wants to evict the church after an 8-year-old girl was sexually assaulted. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, the case has re-traumatized survivors of church-run residential schools. We have to warn you, this next report contains details that may be distressing.
In the days following the discovery of 215 suspected unmarked graves on the grounds of a Catholic-run residential school in Kamloops, Geraldine Shingu sat outside St. Mary's Cathedral demanding a meeting with an archbishop. The survivor says new allegations this week against a priest in a remote Manitoba First Nation are re-traumatizing.
It brought out, that history of the Catholic Church, and it's what they did on Indigenous nations, Indigenous children in our residential schools.
Shingus used to go to Mass regularly, but stopped more than a decade ago. She suspects others may be re-examining their relationship with the church after 48-year-old father Arul Savari was charged with sexually assaulting an 8-year-old girl in Little Grand Rapids.
We don't need to have the Catholic Church.
The Roman Catholic Church has made recent efforts to reconcile with Indigenous people. It denounced the doctrine of discovery in March, and the Pope apologized last summer for the role of church members in the residential school system. But First Nations leaders say these allegations erode their relationship with the church.
We are a very spiritual people, and we always want to believe in God and believe that people are good. But when things like this happen, it's shocking to this community.
Assembly of First Nations Regional Chief Cindy Woodhouse understands why people in Little Grand Rapids want to expel the church. The priest who was charged also worked in Pungassi First Nation and went through training in Poplar River and Saugeen First Nations in 2017. Ogi Makan E.J. Fontaine in Saugeen says the community's relationship with the church is complicated.
There's still people that follow the Catholic Church, despite all the damages and the things that they did to our people, and there's still people that are devout Catholics.
The Archdiocese of St. Boniface declined an interview with Archbishop Albert Legat. The chief of Little Grand Rapids had a meeting scheduled with Legat Friday to discuss the allegations and the impact on the community. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Emotional support is available for anyone affected by residential schools. You can access crisis referral services by calling the 24-hour support lines that are on your screen right now. Hope for Wellness hotline is up there. You'll find that on the website hopeforwellness.ca. A bronze statue of Queen Elizabeth that was toppled on the grounds of the Manitoba legislature is now back on display. The 3-meter-high statue was one of 2 monuments knocked over on Canada Day in 2021 by demonstrators. Suspected unmarked graves had just been found weeks earlier near a former residential school in Kamloops, BC. The statue of Queen Elizabeth landed face first and was damaged in several areas. The whole statue has since been sandblasted and recoated. The statue of Queen Victoria, which was also knocked over, was damaged beyond repair. The leaders of 3 federal political parties were in Manitoba today. They were working to gain support in 2 federal by-election campaigns that are now underway. CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
How's it going, everybody? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for helping out today. Thank you.
Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre in Lindenwoods this afternoon, campaigning in the 31-degree heat for Winnipeg South Centre Conservative candidate Damir Stepanovich.
You really represent the Canadian dream. Came as an immigrant from a family that wanted to live out freedom here in this wonderful country of ours.
Poilievre isn't the only high-profile Conservative who's come to Winnipeg South Centre this week. Deputy Leader Melissa Lantsman was in town yesterday, trying to bolster Stepanovich's chances in a riding the Tories have only captured once in 35 years.
Well, even in Liberal strongholds like this one, people are frustrated with and disappointed with Justin Trudeau.
This campaign has also seen a visit from the Prime Minister. Deputy PM Christopher Freeland visited yesterday to help candidate Ben Carr succeed his late father, Jim Carr.
I'm not surprised that the leaders of all of the major parties have made their way here to Winnipeg in an attempt to support the campaigns of their candidates.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was also in Winnipeg today to campaign for Winnipeg South Centre candidate Julia Riddell.
Julia Riddell is an amazing candidate. She's a psychologist, someone who has got a lot to offer. She's working really hard. And I really want to make the case to Manitobans, to the people of Winnipeg, that New Democrats deliver.
Meanwhile, People's Party leader and Portage Lisgar candidate Maxime Bernier spoke in Winkler, where he employed voters to select him over Conservative candidate Brandon Leslie.
It is a 2-horse race between the CBC candidate and me,
With all the leaders in Manitoba, Singh joked Parliament could move west.
We're all here. We might as well just start doing question period from Manitoba.
The by-elections in Portage-Lisgar and here in Winnipeg South Centre take place on June 19th. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh also sat down with CBC's Faith Fundel today. We'll bring you some of their conversation a little later in the program. 4 in 5 Manitobans believe they could be doing more to be healthier. That's according to an online survey commissioned by Doctors Manitoba. CBC's Brittany Greenslade has more on a new tool to get you moving.
Whether it's getting outside with friends or a bike ride around the park, Manitobans are being encouraged to make some changes.
With the worst of the pandemic behind us, hopefully, and summer just around the corner, now's a great time to focus on getting healthy, and it can start with one simple step.
Doctors Manitoba says the pandemic disrupted activities for many Manitobans. It's why they're launching a new online resource called Getting Healthy.
Living a healthy life, including being active, eating well, sleeping well, reducing stress, can reduce your risk of developing many diseases. That includes obesity, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, dementia.
It helps guide Manitobans through a range of topics, from eating healthy, reducing stress, and moving more. Dr. Joss Reimer says taking small steps, quite literally, will have an impact.
Walking, that have been shown in many studies to promote health, reducing heart disease, and there's even some recent studies showing that it increases happiness when you walk to work.
According to Doctors Manitoba President Dr. Michael Boroditsky, Manitobans, like most Canadians, are not getting the amount of recommended exercise they need.
There's lots of pressures on people and lots of things that are pulling you in different ways, and maybe being healthy for yourself isn't the first thing when you have other stresses, financial, family.
But it's not too late to get started. He says the first step is the biggest.
You can't get to 6 months from now until you've gotten through the first day. And so your small goals, and you build upon that one step, leads to 1 kilometer, leads to whatever you want to do next.
And while getting your body moving is important, both doctors also prescribe a good night's sleep to help you live your best and healthiest life. Brittany Greenslade, CBC News, Winnipeg.
There are hundreds of wildfires burning out of control across our country. Provinces and territories are facing challenges getting the help they need to keep their communities safe and to fight encroaching wildfires. A lot of that help is coordinated from a control room right here in Winnipeg. As we hear from Cameron McIntosh, it's been an exceptionally busy time for the group heading efforts to share resources from coast to coast.
Coast to coast, front lines keep flaring up, and wildfires keep draining local firefighting capacity.
This is the CBC's Coordination Center.
Here, it's all being tracked in real time.
What do we have up on the board here?
So it basically gives you an overview of the national wildland fire situation.
Precipitation, hotspots, forecasts, and critically, available firefighting resources.
Fire Center duty officer speaking.
So when a province or territory needs outside help, this is who they call.
We take that request and we go out to the other provinces and territories looking for who may have a surplus.
The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre is a partnership between the provinces, territories, and federal government. It doesn't assign resources, but constantly evaluates who could help and who can't.
Let's say Alberta right now is really busy, so that's probably not the province that you would go and ask for resources.
And I imagine that that's constantly evolving.
That's evolving, exactly.
So
yes.
The water bomber that might have been available yesterday might not be available today.
That's a possibility.
Canada's on fire. Wildfire expert Mike Flanagan says with so much risk, fire authorities face tough decisions.
Do I keep some of my crews at home because, hey, maybe right now it's okay, my home province, but next week it's looking hot, dry and windy.
That's partly why international help is coming in. These South Africans heading to Alberta, while Costa Rican and American crews are going to Nova Scotia. But that takes days. Fires can move by the minute. Frustrating for a premier like Tim Houston.
The urgency of the need should be obvious. People's homes are literally burning down. Their lives are being turned upside down.
In some places, the military is also being deployed. With so much of the country so dry, there's no telling how long this goes.
That's why we have all these tools.
watching for that single lightning strike or shift in the wind that can change everything. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A pilot project that sends a mental health professional with police to do some 911 calls has proven successful, and now it's being expanded. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
Police officers say regular mental health calls can be draining, especially when telling a family a loved one has died.
I could see their children playing a game at the kitchen table. In that moment, my heart sank.
Growing evidence suggests a police officer alone isn't the best response to mental health crises. That's why in 2021, Winnipeg Police started bringing a mental health clinician with them to non-criminal cases. Both responders would be in plain clothes. The program is called Alternative Response to Citizens in Crisis, or ARC for short.
ARC offers a compassionate and effective approach to mental health.
On Friday, the province announced it's giving $400,000 to expand the program. It'll be available 7 days a week rather than 5.
It's for the person who believes the only solution to their pain is by taking their own life. It's for the houseless person who's living with trauma and addictions.
Since the program began, ER admissions for people experiencing a mental health crisis has been cut by 29%.
The rationale for going into this project has proven itself.
The Schizophrenia Society of Canada says a trained mental health professional can de-escalate situations.
And sometimes just having someone who comes alongside and listens, knows how to listen, can identify with the person's emotions and talks with them in terms of it's maybe, kind of a brief counseling situation. There's no need for everyone to have to go to the crisis response center or the emergency department.
The program is also designed to free up police to focus on other matters. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Turned out to be a very busy day for our weather specialist, Marjorie Dowhos. Recap the watches and warnings you're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, so we still have that heat warning that's in effect for most of southern Manitoba. So that's likely going to stick with us for the entire weekend. But at the same time, we have some instability that's rolling in. And as we saw, some areas, including Winnipeg, under a severe thunderstorm watch. Just a watch at this hour. So here to recap, here is the heat warning. And why the heat warning? Because over the next couple days, we are expecting highs to be in the 30s. Today in Winnipeg, we got up to a high of about 32 at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. It did cool down a little bit to about 27 degrees. That's when the showers rolled in here to Winnipeg. And as you'll see here on the other map, here is the severe thunderstorm watch that we're under right now. So Winnipeg is under that. Brandon is under that. Many parts of southern Manitoba stretching all the way to the border with Saskatchewan, as far north as the Interlake, and south all the way to the U.S. border. The only area really not under any kind of severe thunderstorm watch or warning at this hour is the very southeastern corner of the province, which includes the Whiteshell as well as Sprague. Right now in Winnipeg, 26 degrees. That doesn't factor in the humidity. Humidex makes it feel like it's more in the 30s. We're under a mostly cloudy sky right now. Wind out of the northeast at 31. This barometric pressure has been holding steady for most of the day at 101.5 kilopascals. Here's a look now at the satellite radar. You can see those pop-up showers, that instability that's due to a low-pressure center that's moving in south of the border. You're going to watch this here. We're going to see a little bit of clearing overnight between Friday and Saturday. Saturday morning, you can see here, rather pleasant. Janet asked about that. We're looking at a mainly sunny sky in the morning, but then we're going to start to see some increasing clouds Saturday afternoon. That low pressure center really pushes in as that high pressure center pushes out east. There is the chance of some showers with the risk of a thunderstorm. We're going to see the same pattern as we head into Sunday, clearing out a little bit. And then on Sunday afternoon, when the Pride Parade and all the festivities get underway, just be prepared for the chance of showers with the risk of a thunderstorm as we continue to see heat, humidity, and instability here. Tonight, a low of 20 degrees, very mild overnight. Clearing, still a chance of a thunderstorm overnight. Wind out of the south at 20. Tomorrow morning, 23 degrees, mainly sunny, and then we pop back up to a high in the 30s. 33 degrees, that wind will pick up out of the south. 20 to 40, chance of a shower and risk of a thunderstorm. And that pattern continues Sunday, but we're going to start to get a little bit of relief early next week. High of 28 on Monday, 30% chance of showers in the afternoon. Good chance we're going to see some showers overnight between Monday and Tuesday. And then Tuesday, good chance of some showers, cooling to 22, which is normal for this time of year.
Thank you very much, Marjorie. Variety Manitoba is looking for volunteers to help with a life-changing bike camp it's holding this summer. Within 5 sessions, I Can Bike Camp helps people, mostly kids with disabilities, succeed in riding a 2-wheel bike without training wheels. I was one of the riders last year, and I can attest to how cool I Can Shine system is. The CEO of Variety Manitoba, Jeff Liba, was there with me last year. Jeff, how would you describe the atmosphere of this bike camp?
I mean, it's really a heartwarming and encouraging environment, right? I mean, it's you've got a bunch of participants that are riders that come into it, and they probably don't think that they're going to be able to do it because they've unfortunately not been able to be successful riding a bike at this point in life before coming to our camp. And then they start to work on the trainers, and over the course of the week, and we are doing the bike camp for 2 weeks, but each participant is there for a week. They start to build confidence, and they've got fans in the stand that are seeing their loved one doing things that they've never been able to do before. So it's an awesome experience for the participants, for the audience, and for the volunteers.
What is it you need volunteers to do?
Yeah, so our volunteers are basically there to encourage, assist, walk alongside, jog alongside, make sure our riders don't fall when they're on the trainers or on the bikes, learning how to do things. And so they're really there as support for our riders.
Trust is something that they developed, I know, between the riders and their volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, the riders themselves are going to experience a whole bunch of things. They're going to develop gross motor skills, obviously, balance. They're experiencing independence. They are absolutely building friendships and confidence, right? Those are huge things. And our wonderful volunteers who are all, in reasonably good shape and typically very compassionate people are their encouragement, right? And so not only do the riders succeed, but the volunteers succeed in a different way too, because many of them would not have experience working with folks that are living with disabilities before that. And so it's teaching them things too that are really valuable for them in terms of their life. And again, they're going to be more inclusive in their perspective as a result of volunteering.
So you've got 2 1-week sessions, a number of classes per day. We're showing video now from last year's camp, and it does show people that as the riders get better and more independent, their volunteers have to be able to run alongside them. So athletic people, sports teams would be great.
Correct. Yeah. Again, typical volunteers that are going to do really well at this are people that are in shape, have reasonably good cardiovascular strength, right? In addition to sort of being the caring, compassionate folks.
And how long do you need them to volunteer?
Yeah, so each volunteer session is 75 minutes. I mean, in a perfect world, we find volunteers that can help us each and every day of the week. So for the 5 weeks, or 5 days that represent each week a bike camp. But having said that, like people that want to just come out and maybe volunteer for a session or 2 sessions, every little bit helps, and we want to just make sure that we make it easy for people to be able to volunteer.
Where do people go for more information, Jeff?
Yeah, so bike camp is operating both the week of July 3rd and July 10th. And ideally, those that want to volunteer can just go to our website, varietymanitoba.com. There'll be a space right there under volunteering for them to click on, and it'll take them right through to a very, very short information sheet just to get some particulars on them. If for whatever reason people maybe are a little bit technology adverse, they can also call us in the office at 204-982-1050, and one of our wonderful staff members will be happy to help them.
Jeff Liba, CEO of Variety Manitoba, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Janet, and thank you for everything.
We'll have a look at the wildfire situation in Nova Scotia after the break. Many families have lost everything. We'll show you what's being done to help them when we return. Well, as we've seen, wildfires are raging in places across the country. Thousands of families have been left shattered, forced from their homes. In some cases, they've lost everything. In Halifax, CBC's Sam Sampson takes a look at the impact and how neighbors are trying to help.
This is the main evacuation center for people forced from their homes in the fire nearest Halifax and the surrounding area. It's full of resources for people who, A, don't have a place to go right now, but maybe just need a little bit of help. So yes, people can stay here overnight. This is also a region for some health care. Maybe you have a bit of an issue from the smoke with your lungs. You can get a look at that, or any other kind of health care. There's food, water, clothing for people, and mental health resources as well, because this is a very traumatic time for people who may have never expected something like this to happen. This is where a group of people got on 4 different buses today and toured their own neighborhood, really, to see what was left of their homes. Lots of damage in the surrounding area of Halifax too. One man didn't want to go on that bus tour. Take a listen why.
I just feel like when I want to see my property, I want to be able to do it with my family and by ourselves and actually be physically able to go in and and I don't know if I want to sort through stuff, but I'd just rather do it alone.
To receive the news that you've lost your home is just devastating news. So, that type of news has to be delivered with compassion and as much empathy as possible. So I'm just so sorry for those people that lost their homes and had their life turned upside down.
These mental health support workers are so important because it is such a tough time for some people. Now, there is some good news in the forecast. We have rain coming to Nova Scotia. It varies how much depending on where you are, but we're talking 5 to 25 millimeters over the next few days. And while that is a start, fire officials say it's not really enough to stop the fires because they say, as they've seen in the past, it only takes a few days of really warm weather after that soggy weather to put us right back where we are.
It was hard to believe. We're expecting 3 or 4 or 5 days of significant rainfall. Based on the past, what we will see, we'll get 3 or 4 days of good rain, and all it takes is 3 or 4 days of warm weather, and we're right back here again.
So a very fluid situation in Nova Scotia. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Halifax.
A city in eastern Quebec has declared a state of emergency. 10,000 people in the Sept-Îles area have been told to leave their homes. It's a mandatory evacuation order that comes as 80 of more than 100 fires across the province burn out of control. Ottawa says officer. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. Time to check back in with our weather specialist, Marjorie Dowhos. So we've been talking about how hot it is here in southern Manitoba. What about up north? Is it hot there too?
Yeah, up north is actually seeing some heat as well too. There has been some haze, some smoke drifting in, but they're also feeling the warmth as well too. Not as hot as we're seeing here in southern Manitoba. Let's take a look right now at the current temperatures here across the province right now. 26 degrees in Winnipeg, the Forks, also 26 degrees as well. It is mostly cloudy right now. And you'll see here we continue to see temperatures in the 30s. We've been seeing some increasing cloud throughout the day. We still have severe thunderstorm watches in place for many parts of southern Manitoba. Right now, 29 degrees in Portage, 26 for you in Brandon, 32, look at that, 32 in Morton Winkler, 31 in Emerson. Haze being reported in Dauphin at 28, 25 degrees in the Paw right now. Thompson also at 25. You can see that Norway House, 29 right now. We've got sunshine in Lynn Lake at 23, 18 at this hour in Churchill. Taking a look now at this evening, well, there is the chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm overnight in northwestern Ontario. Mild evening. Look at these overnight lows. 19 in Kenora overnight, 18 in Dryden. It is the same story here in southern Manitoba. We are looking at the risk of a thunderstorm. The sky should start to clear out overnight. Look at those overnight lows, 20 in Winnipeg, 19 in Emerson, 19 as well in Steinbach. That's the same story in southwestern Manitoba. Risk of a thunderstorm, 17 overnight for you in Brandon. Chance of showers in Dauphin, chance of showers in Swan River, mild overnight lows. And up north, you're also looking at the chance of some showers, risk of a thunderstorm in Flin Flon and the Pas, overnight lows around 16 degrees. Tomorrow, good chance of showers in the Churchill and Lynn Lake areas, looking at a high of 23 degrees in Lynn Lake, 28 in Thompson. Chance of showers with the risk of a thunderstorm. Starting off the day with sunshine in southwestern Manitoba, with the chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Highs again in the 30s. Same story here in southeastern Manitoba as we continue to sit under that heat warning. Highs in the 30s. Starting off the day with sunshine, increasing cloud, chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. And it's the same thing for northwestern Ontario as you continue to be under that heat warning as well. Instability in the afternoon, chance of showers with the risk of a thunderstorm. I'll have your extended forecast coming up a little later on in the show, Janet.
Thank you, Marjorie. Tomorrow morning, hundreds of people will gather in Assiniboine Park to walk 5 or 20 kilometers as part of Cancer Care Manitoba's Challenge for Life fundraiser. Now, there's another way you and your kids can raise money for cancer care this summer without even breaking a sweat. In fact, it should be downright refreshing. The Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation wants you and the kids in your life to set up a lemonade stand for hope. It's something Nikki Fanouf has been doing with her kids and her nephew for a while now. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Where did the idea to set up a lemonade stand come from?
Well, our first summer, we just randomly decided to have a lemonade stand. It just so happened our sweet neighbor across the street was diagnosed with leukemia. Our girls played together all the time. And that summer, the kids were like, oh, we should have a lemonade stand and help our friend across the street. And I'm like, that's a great idea. So we set a goal to raise the X amount of dollars, and it was a great success. And we did it in her honor, and she's in remission and she's doing fantastic. The kids just were like, oh, this is great. We'll do it to help our friend. And then every time we saw the donations coming in, it just got more successful, and we started to do it every year.
Now, your nephew's joined in as well, and this will be year number 4, is it?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. What's the best thing, do you think, about doing this?
I love seeing the kids waiting for the community members to come to the driveway and just watch everybody stopping and telling the kids how well they're doing and such a special cause they're helping. They love seeing all the, even like police officers and local neighbors and friends and family, even staff members from work, students from school coming to their driveway and just cheering them on and cheering the cause on.
So a lot of great community support. Are there
Absolutely.
other lessons you think they're learning as well?
Just to be kind and know you never know what other people are going through in their lives, and just seeing all the people come to your driveway and see them smile and see the good the kids are doing. I've always taught them to be kind. Every morning they go to school, I always say, do something kind, be good to each other. And I think it's stuck, and they really enjoy doing this.
Now, Cancer Care Manitoba has information on lemonadeforhope.ca on how you can set up your own stand. What advice would you have for anyone who's watching and thinks this is a great idea?
My advice I can give you is to, assemble your army, have your team come and help you, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends from school. Get a cute stand. You can get little things from Home Depot. You can build. Pinterest has great ideas for cute lemonade stands. Cancer Care is also providing for the Lemonade Stands of Hope. They have a starter kit that comes with banners, little tote bags, lawn signs. They also have pencils and tattoos and juice crystals to make your own lemonade. Advertising is huge. We make flyers, we send it via email. The kids go around the block and they pass them to everybody's doorstep. We also, in our development, have a community website that we post advertising for the event. And also, I believe that Lemonade stands for Hope. They create a chip for you, a QR code for you to make donations.
So people who live on the other side of the world can help out too. Nikki Phaneuf, thank you so much for doing this with your kids and for joining us today to tell us about it.
Thank you.
Coming up, the host of Up to Speed on CBC Radio, Faith Fundal, sits down with the leader of the federal NDP, Jagmeet Singh, to talk about health care and dental care. We bring you that part of that conversation after the break. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. Well, as we've mentioned, by-election campaigns are underway in 2 federal ridings in Manitoba right now. On June 19th, voters will choose a new member of parliament representing Winnipeg South Centre. That's available after the death of longtime MP Jim Carr. And there'll also be a by-election in Portage-Lisgar after longtime MP Candice Bergen stepped down. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is one of 3 federal leaders in Winnipeg today, and he agreed to come into the studio. He spoke with CBC's Faith Fundal, host of Up to Speed, earlier today. Here's a portion of their interview discussing dental and health care.
We're delivering a dental care program, starting with kids under 12, who right now, if qualified, can receive up to $1,300 per child. On top of that, by the end of this year, all seniors, people living with disabilities, and children 18 and under will be able to go to the dentist or the hygienist and have their dental care needs met for free with the National Dental Care Program delivered by New Democrats. These are real concrete steps that save people money, help them with their dental health that New Democrats delivered. It's the biggest expansion of our healthcare since we brought it in, and we're making that happen for millions of people. So concretely, we make people's lives better. We fight and we deliver. The other parties like to make noise on the corners or don't want to do anything. We're forcing government to deliver for Canadians.
What are you hearing from Manitobans about the state of healthcare here?
People are really worried about it. With a Conservative government that's been cutting away at healthcare, whether it's hospitals and the lack of beds and lack of staffing, or even things like paramedic services, people are really worried about the state of healthcare in Manitoba. And that's why we need someone who's going to be a champion for public healthcare, universal healthcare. The Manitoba NDP is fighting hard to defend our healthcare system. We need a federal champion as well. And we've shown again and again, the only party really committed to universal healthcare, where you don't have to pay out of pocket, where everyone gets the best quality care possible. That's a New Democrat at the federal level.
The federal government just gave the provinces a boost in their healthcare dollars, but made the money largely no strings attached. And shortly after the money was announced, Manitoba sent out rebate checks. How would an NDP government, do you think, change the way provinces spend federal health dollars?
Well, we would make sure there are strings attached. We need to make sure that investments in healthcare go to healthcare. They don't go to cutting taxes for billionaires or giving money to Galen Weston or giving money to other highly profitable billion-dollar corporations. We want to see healthcare money go to healthcare. Go to making sure people can see a doctor, go to make sure people have enough nurses when they go in and visit the emergency room, and that they don't have to wait for hours and hours before they get care. We can make that happen. We've got tools at the federal level which can ensure that money that we spend, the hard-earned Canadian dollars, go towards our healthcare system. And that's what Canadians expect that should happen. We want to make sure that actually happens.
Do you think the system the government is using right now is working?
I think that they're not using the system right, that the Liberal government and Prime Minister Trudeau aren't committed to public universal healthcare the same way we are, and aren't using the tools that they could be using. They could be forcing provinces to ensure that all delivery that receives federal funding is public. They can ensure that public dollars go towards healthcare and not going towards tax rebates. We want to make sure that our healthcare system is strong, that people can actually go to a doctor, go to an emergency room, make sure they get the care if God forbid they have to go to cancer treatment. We need to make sure that that care is there for them, it's available, and it's accessible. And that's what we can do at the federal level. So far, we've seen that Conservatives don't care. They want to privatize, make it for profit, and the Liberals don't have that same commitment to universal health care.
Your daily lift and 7-day forecast still to come.
So Winnipeg at this hour remains under 2 weather alerts, a severe thunderstorm watch as well as a heat warning. That heat warning will continue all weekend. Look at these daytime highs in the 30s, hot and humid. Again, we're looking at instability on both days. In the afternoon, we'll start to get a little bit of a break next week. Good chance of showers between Monday and Tuesday, high of 22 on Tuesday, which is normal, and then we get back into the heat once again. Well, Janet, a group of kids in Nova Scotia, wanted to show their appreciation for first responders fighting the wildfires in the province.
And that brings us our daily lift.
A is for appreciating all that you do. B is for being brave and not giving up.
A class at a Dartmouth elementary school made these amazing pictures and put them together in a video to say thank you to the first responders fighting wildfires in their province. Ms. Reardon's grade 3-4 class at Alderney Elementary was asked to use the whole alphabet to show their thanks. And they found a way, right? Yeah. G is for greatness and kindness within you. The amazing thing about terrible stories like that, it happens when there's flooding here, right? You always get the great folks coming out to help each other. It's heartwarming. Have a great weekend.
Good night.